Hey, welcome back folks, another day in lockdown, another video from me. Well, that's the way it goes, isn't it? It'd be a right shock to the system going back to work in the great outdoors, wouldn't it, rather than in my dining room. Lush out there today. I've just been out doing some weeding, admiring my handiwork out the window. Haven't weeded too much because you know, the bees and stuff like the weeds, don't they? And actually some weeds are really pretty. I've never understood it really. I guess they're a bit invasive and whatever though, aren't they? It seems that like wasp Armageddon seems to be over for now at least, but weed Armageddon is in full flow. They seem to be growing at a right rate of knots, but like I say, I've left some in for the bees and that. But anyway, today's video is Escaping the System Part 4, right? And this is going to be the final part of this little series. I'll definitely do some more bits and pieces on problem solving. Some of it might have to wait till we can get properly outside again. But part 1 and part 2 were like properly about escaping the system, weren't they? Part 3 that we did was about doing something with it, getting down to our mate to give them some first aid, patch them up, get them upright, that kind of stuff. And then this part will be about bailing from the root, okay? So it's going to be trying to convert what we've got set up into a counterbalance abseil, so I can then pull the rope part down afterwards and do another abseil, whatever's appropriate, right? So if you haven't watched part 1, 2 and 3, it might well be worth watching them, if not now, after this video. And also there's a couple of other little videos like prusking up the rope, and what's the other one, hoisting as well, because that's going to be an option as well in some instances. So we're just trying to learn loads of building blocks. There's loads of ways of doing all these things, and there's loads of different building blocks we need, but these are like some of the key ones, okay? So keep that in mind as well. There's loads of variables with all this stuff. Have a look at this though and see what you think. So give me a moment and I'll just set myself up back on Sling Mountain, and then we'll crack on. Okay, we're back on Sling Mountain. Remember, this is part 4, so if you haven't watched parts 1, 2 and 3 and you know the videos we've done on prusking and hoisting and stuff, it'll probably worth watching those either now or after this one, because some bits might not quite make sense as to how we've got here in the first place. But here we are, Escaping the System Part 4. We have escaped the system. We're on our improvised lanyard, clipped up to here, not in the system in the slightest. We've gone down to our mate and we fixed them as best we can. They're dangling down there. We need to get off the crag. And this is what we've been left with. We've got a tied off Italian hitch, so that's all nice and releasable. I'm safe. Let's come up with a plan. What do I need to do? This is a multi-pitch abseil that we're talking about here, so I'm going to have to leave some kit. Right? This setup up here, that's going to be gone. So I want to minimise the kit while still being 100% safe. So if I can kind of get away with using snap gates and things like that, I will do, to save the screw gates for like the absolutely vital, crucial points, right? Things like my lanyard is on a screw gate. If it wasn't on a screw gate, it would have to be on like back-to-back snap gates to be super safe. But what's the plan then? So we need this to be a retrievable abseil. So what's a retrievable abseil? Well, that's when we can pull the rope down afterwards and then set up another belay, go off that, another belay, go off that, however many times you need to, right? So this rope needs to be free running through something up here. Can't pull it down at the moment, it's fixed. I need to get rid of this, don't I? So it's almost like a mini escaping the system kind of thing. So to grip onto the rope, what we're going to use, good old prusiks, eh? Again, I know I always say this, but these are the Simmons sewn ones, because people ask, so may as well tell you. Simmons sewn prusiks, I like them. I think they're out of stock though, I said this the other day. Depends when you're watching this video probably though. But the Beal Jammy is an alternative. You don't have to have these sewn ones, right? Regular prusiks are cool. I just like these ones, they're fully rated, the same as a sling, so they're up to 22 kilonewtons, these ones. Right, I'm just looking at my screw gate situation going on here, and it's pretty minimal, to be honest. So I've back-to-backed, or opposed actually, some snap gates there. I don't want to just let go, because sometimes that, you can see it already wants to slide with a couple of taps, so I'm just covering it. I'm going to get myself a sling, right? I haven't got a lot of kit here, so I'm just trying to manage it as I go. I'm going to clip the sling into those 2 snap gates, the 2 snap gates being as good as a screw gate. You can see, look at it wanting to disappear, brilliant. And I want to bypass this slot. So what can I do up here? Probably going to have to be snap gates again, looking at what I've got. This is just realistic, isn't it, I reckon? I have got enough snap gates though to do what I was on about, like so. Let's see if I can shorten that up a bit. Yeah, I reckon I can. I'm going to double that up just to get the right length. You can tie a knot in it, or it might be the right length without doing anything. Depends on the situation. We are kind of often refer to this as being pretty improvised, all this stuff. You can see how that prusik isn't super grippy, is it, sliding around there? So I am going to chuck another wrap in there. And yeah, obviously I could edit these things out and stuff, but I like to leave bits like that in because it's just, that's what will happen. You'll have to try all this stuff and it will slip and it won't grip at times, and sometimes it'll be too grippy, more grippy than you want it to be if it's on your abseil and stuff. That's just the way these things go. Right, there we go. So, right, at this point, okay, I'm going to encourage that prusik to lock. It's obviously tied to my bench, so it's not like bar tight all this lot, but you get the idea. I'm still safe obviously over here. Prusik is attached into the shelf just because it's a convenient place to put it. It keeps it all neat and tidy. The prusik can grip the rope, so I could, right, take out that Italian hitch now. I'm not going to, okay, because then it would just be on a prusik and my mate would be dangling on solely a prusik. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get this rope, the spare rope, and clip that back into the power point, the master point up there, alright? Spin and shut, clip and flip, same as always. It's just got a little twist in there, so I'm going to spin that out actually. I just want everything to be as clear as possible with all these things, so it's just really easy to check and double check and everything. Now this is going to form my backup in a minute, so currently it's just free running next to the Italian hitch. So next up I'm going to get my prusik on and set up a normal abseil, okay, just on this one strand. So however many wraps you need, you know the score. See how many we get and give it a test. That's the plan, isn't it? There we go. Spin, spin, spin. I'm stuck. I've only got a snap gate left, right? Other than my belay plate, which I'll need in a second. You've heard before how little I like going on just a snap gate on my backup. So what I'm going to do there is put it in temporarily, put myself a knot there in readiness as well as a backup. Just like to be like real belt and braces at this point. And then I'm going to put my belay plate on, same as normal. I'm going to come back to that prusik with a snap gate in a minute when I've won some more kickback. It's just the way it goes, folks. You've got to do a bit of improvising. That's what it's all about, isn't it? I'd rather not do it. I'd rather have a screw gate to do it. It's another thing to remember now, but that's the way it all goes, isn't it? So let's get that all snugged up now. Not going to take it super tight yet. Okay, winning. So my mate is on this prusik up to here. He's on an Italian hitch, and I've actually set up the first part of the counterbalance rescue now. Okay. So what can I do next? Prusik's gripping, doing its thing. I'm backing up, so I can get rid of this Italian hitch back up now. Great. Let's do it properly rather than just trying to untie it in a oneer and slide it out. I'm going to release it gently. And I want this prusik to still be doing its thing. I'm not weighting my counterbalance quite yet. All right, so just pull a bit through. Keep checking that prusik. Obviously I'm just on the bench, so it doesn't all look as tight as it should do, but imagine that's doing loads of gripping. You get the idea. I can release the Italian hitch a bit. Great, that's all doing its thing, just to simulate it a bit better there. Okay, great, brilliant. I can now get rid of that Italian in just a second. I'll just try and pull a bit of slack through. I just like to pull the slack through at kind of each stage, not until it's like fully tight and I can't undo knots and stuff, but get the most out of it. Okay, so I'm the backup. I've got my backup knot in as well. It's slid down a bit now though, so I'll just whip another one in, belt and braces. And I can now get rid of that Italian mega. There we go. Slide him out. Remember, I'm hands-free here because I've got that backup knot in, right? The prusik's doing all the gripping, you can see that there. Now I can take this in the final bit, get it super tight, slide the prusik up again, won't bother with that knot this time. Alright, and now I'm going to fully weight it, but what have I got to do? Good job I remembered that, isn't it? Because you know what I'm like with these things. I'm going to swap that snap gate, aren't I? I've only got this big boa, but I'd rather not use a massive boa for that, but it'll do. It's a locker, so I'm happy. Okay, slide him up. Job's a good one. Now I'm going to fully weight this, right? So I am now the backup, and this sling can be released. You can see as I've taken it there, it's gone a bit slack because it's on the bench obviously. But now that's released, you might have to pull really flipping hard on that when you're doing it for real, because once it's weighted properly, just have to hit it quite hard. That's why we've done a French prusik though, isn't it? So it's releasable under load. Okay, let's clear everything up here. This is going to be a bit like Christmas now. I'm going to get loads of kit back. There's a prusik. Let's get these two snappers out of the way. I like to do this, right, and get everything kept in order all the time. Otherwise it just makes a bit of a mess and it's more confusing. And it's like, when you're searching for that thing. So you're going to be a bit stressed when all this is going on, aren't you? Whether it's an assessment, your MCI assessment, or more importantly, if it's for real and there's actually someone on the end of all this, it's not going to be singing away and happy to yourself. Oh, brilliant, right. Counterbalance, mate's down there, it's up through here, it's into the master point, the power point. I'm backing it up by being the other end of the counterbalance. Undo that, off I go, happy days. Abseiling down to my mate. Get those knots out as I go obviously. And then when I get level with my mate, I'm going to clip them in to my lanyard, the far end of it. And that means I'm going to drag them down as I go, because otherwise if I don't clip them to me, I've either got to pull them down and have only one hand down here, or I've got to, they'll just get left behind, won't they? So if you clip them to that, that's pulling them with you. You might need that spare hand anyway to pull on their harness and pull them out and stuff over ledges and round trees and everything, but clip that onto them so you're dragging them down with you, okay? Brilliant. You've got them, you get all the way to the next belay, you build a belay, something like that, you attach your mate to it, you attach yourself to it, and then you go into just a normal retrievable abseil. Okay, great, we're winning, aren't we? Job's a good one. Making some progress. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to de-rig that one, and you'll join me in just a second, and we'll look at setting up the retrievable bit when you're with your mate and you can get them down in like a Y-hang type rescue, all right? Okay folks, so we're back in the game now. We've gone on our counterbalance abseil to the ledge, we've set up our new belay, and now we're just in normal retrievable abseil mode, okay? So my mate will be attached to this belay as well. Quite how depends on whether they're conscious, unconscious, all that kind of stuff, but not too worried about that for now. So I might have had to join the two ropes if we're on two ropes, so I'm just going on the one for the moment, so I found the middle, put knots in the end, lobbed that off. Going to keep myself safe all the time obviously, so I would be clipped into something up here as well. And now I can set up my abseil. Not doing anything with my mate yet, he's safe on the system. Got my prusiks already attached from the previous abseils that we've done. I'm on two ropes this time, so I can probably get away with a wrap or two less, but we'll just test it as always and see how we get on. It's a screw gate, remember, because this is really flipping important. Does it lock up? Yep, that's locking up, ace. What do we normally do next? We put the belay plate on. So far, this is all pretty normal, isn't it, right? Pinch them together, get them in. Made it sort of drop proof as I like to. Do that up. So that, right, is a normal belay setup, isn't it, for these extended abseils that I like to do. I'm clipped in, I'm there, and I'm on there. Let's just put a knot in beneath that as well, because I might be doing a bit of faffing in a minute, getting my mate onto it and stuff, so kind of why not? Now, there's a slight difference going to happen here, because I've said this is going to be a Y-hang abseil. Sorry if the light goes funny, it's like cloudy 1 minute, sunny the next, and it affects the lighting in here quite a lot. Right, yeah, so I've got to get my mate on it, and he's going to attach to the system in this Y-hang setup as well. So remember, I've done that knot to back this up, but I just want to show you what would happen. If I just clip him to this, when we both lean back, he's, if anything, slightly beneath me. So it's really awkward for me to abseil, especially with an unconscious person if they're beneath me, trying to pull them over ledges and keep them, the right way and everything. It's not really ideal. So what I do, and I can do this while I'm still clipped in, I don't have to come off and do it. I can just get this overhand that we've like done by default in our extended abseil at about a third of the way up, and move it like right the way up here. So what's going to happen now when I abseil is this device can be quite far away from me, and I actually do something very slightly different with this setup. Instead of just clipping straight into the sling loop like I normally do, right, I'm going to clip that side and the other side of the knot as well. That means if there's any weight difference, one person doesn't get pulled higher or lower, the abseil device, the belay plate, stays centered on that knot, and I think that's quite cool to do that. So flip him up there. So now there's no chance of one of us getting and the other one going up on this sling. Okay, so let's get a little view of that then. Remember, I'm all backed up and everything. I've double checked it all. Now, as I abseil down now, let's just get that nice and high. You can see, all right, get him out of the way. But as I go, my belay plate is actually quite far away, isn't it? And that's cool. No, I'm still within reach and everything, so that's no drama for me at all. My mate is going to clip to this nice short end, right? And the reason for that is that they're going to be in front of me. So there's a couple of good things about that. You might just like get them supported on your lap as you abseil, keep them nice and upright and all that. It can be you just sort of pull on their harness as well to, again, get them over those little ledges. You know what climbs and abseils are like. There's loads of stuff in the way. Get around that tree, over that ledge, whatever it might be. So have them in front of you. That's not the only way of setting up this Y-hang. I've gone on about the rock climbing book from Mountain Trading. There's a link below. That will show you a different way of doing it. Yeah, I may as well show you now as we're in the game, aren't we? This is like the classic way of doing it. I've just evolved for this way because it's already kind of set up a lot of the time, but the classic Y-hang is to drape it over like that. Nicer to do in these really skinny slings, and just tie an overhand in there. Your belay plate's going to be on the top, you're going to be lark's fitted or clipped into that end, and your mate goes in that end. What I find with this, shorter the better. That's a classic Y-hang. I prefer this method that I've got in this purple sling here. You know, have a play with them and see what you think. And then we can abseil down together, get to another belay, get to the floor, whatever it is. But that is us getting off the crag. Winning, eh? Love it. Part 1, we escaped the system one way. Part 2, we escaped it the other way. Part 3, we've gone down to them, made them you know, as good as they can be in terms of first aid and stuff, got back to our belay. Part 4, today, we've counterbalanced abseiled down to the next belay, and then retrievable abseiled again and again, however many times we need to. So that's ace, isn't it? There's loads of other videos on this kind of thing on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. And I'm sure there'll be slightly different ways of doing all these things. That's great, right? Watch this one and practice it. Watch another one and practice those ways, and pick and choose the bits that you like. There's things I could have done slightly differently in all of this. Each and every way, there's always choices. I'm thinking back to when I did the counterbalance setup, and I ended up going off the shelf and with nothing clipped into there. I deemed that was okay. But there's one easy step you could have done to transfer it onto the main master point as well. So have a play with it and try these different things. You've got to deem if it's okay or not okay. And if you're doing this kind of thing, you need to have a fair chunk of experience to kind of make all these decisions, don't you? But I do think that every sort of climber should be able to do these escaping the system things. Even if, like I said in yesterday's part 3, even if it's just getting down to do first aid and then you get outside help, unless you're going somewhere like properly wild where you've got no chance of getting any help. Fingers crossed, and touch wood, I hope you never have to do it. I've had to solve some problems, never had anything, again touch wood, that's like super dramatic. Interesting enough, but not like super dramatic. I do know people who have though. It is a thing that happens, right? So go and practice it, because like I say, it'll probably never happen to you, so you'll do it on your own sling mounting, great. 10 years time, will you remember all this? I don't know, probably bits of it, but probably not all of it, and you won't be slick at it. So make sure you do practice it every now and then, and practice it out on the crags when we can as well. Being really careful, so always get a backup involved, take a spare rope just to get yourself completely off all this lot when you can, and be super safe. I've alluded to the fact already that these are all like building blocks that we're learning, and we have to be able to take the particular block and put them in the right order and everything. So go away and practice them, and then just throw little problems at yourself and try and work them out. That's the key, really. Get really well practiced at it and you'll be ace at it. The idea being that you don't have to be like rushing through these things. Come up with a plan and just work your way methodically towards that end goal, and then you'll be successful. And with that comes a bit of speed anyway, I reckon. Rushing is no good for anyone. You know the score with questions, folks. I'm happy to answer them as best I can, so chuck them in the comments below, chuck them on Facebook or whatever, but please do ask them, and go and have a practice and try these different methods and stuff. I think that's going to be it for the Escaping the System series, as it were. I will do more on problem solving things though, because there's definitely more things out there, right? For sure there is. So yeah, I'd like to do some more. Some things will have to wait until we can get out onto the rock. You know, I'd love to do a traverse rescue kind of thing, which builds on all this kind of stuff, but adds a bit more. But I can't do that on Sling Mountain on my own. It's not going to happen. So you have to wait and see for that one until we're out and about again. Click that like button, click the subscribe button. We've got over 1,000 subscribers. It's blown my mind. I'm so appreciative, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for clicking those buttons if you have done it. It's awesome. It really does help us. You can find us on Facebook and Insta. I post different stuff on there as well, so check us out if that's something you want to do. Ask those questions. I hope you've enjoyed watching this one. More videos coming up very soon.